Welcome to Topics. I'm Phil Gallagher, and my guest today is Robert Fahey of BurlingtonRetro.com. Welcome to the program, Robert.
Thank you, sir.
Well, let's begin. You're an '86 graduate of Burlington. You're a graduate of Salem State with a BA in English. And what would we describe you as for BurlingtonRetro.com? Are you the webmaster? Are you the CEO?
It's not a business really, but I created it and I'm the editor. So it's a one-man band. I do all of it. You know, I don't have a staff. It's just
okay. What was the? Well, first of all, describe what it is. It's the site that never forgets.
It's a history website for people who are not into history very much and don't like to read a whole lot, have a short attention span, but have a soft spot for old pictures and old stories. So it's a different kind of a history lesson. It's all 20th century. It's not ancient. It's not Burlington as a colony. None of that. It's relatively recent, enough that you can have people, tell you in a first person. People who are still with us, walking around, can still tell you, okay, here's how this happened. Here's how this happened. Here's how my family's farm became a playground and all that stuff. It's that kind of thing. And the mission really is to simply collect and preserve recent history so it's not tossed or lost to time. So those who are interested can get a hold of it and look at it long after I'm gone. There'll be a record that these things happened, they existed, here's how this got here, here's why this is called that, here are the actual faces that you might read about, here they are, and here's what they had to say. And I feel like it's an urgent thing that every town should be doing because we all went through a massive change within one human lifetime. We all went through, in this area, a huge change. When the highways all came through and industry came in and all the farms went away. So we all went through a massive, massive change. And it's recent enough that if you work hard enough, you can get the old version of the town and grab it before it's gone and put it somewhere durable where it can't be lost in a fire or thrown away, or oh, it's in a box somewhere, but I can't get it now. I'm 85 years old, and then when I die, my kids are going to throw it away. That kind of thing.
You could actually remember walking the old pig farms in town.
Yeah, and that's the thing. While people's memories are still working, that's another big thing. Because sometimes people don't know what they have for information and photos. They have it right there, they don't know it. So while their brains are still working, get them to pluck the information, give it to me, and sometimes they're gone soon after they talk to me. A lot of people have died just in the brief time that website's been up. So we've been up for about 3 years.
Now, what was your personal? Well, you have a background in journalism. You were with the Lawrence Eagle Tribune, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And I think how old is it? It's 4 years old.
Yeah.
Right? I think we did
October 2017. It went out.
Okay, we did the first interview 3.5 years ago, I think, on B News, one of the programs. Yeah. What was your original motivation? Refresh how you decided that you would take on this task.
Because I was about to turn 50, I was in my high 40s, and I started to get on the internet and try to find things from my own childhood, the fresh spot. Couldn't find it. Oh well. The YWCA pool where I learned how to swim. Couldn't find it.
By the mansion, the old mansion,
right.
Sure.
I lived right there. Dale Pharmacy. Couldn't find it. Then I started to ask around at the town events on the Common, anyone with white hair. I said, excuse me, have you been in town a long time? Yeah. Do you have any pictures of these things I mentioned? Oh no, but you know where you have it? Right there, Town Hall. Okay? No, they didn't.
No.
And then it occurred to me that not that long ago, there was a school, Wildwood School, in the woods. I remember driving by, seeing the carcass of the school there.
I graduated there.
Okay. And I said, that's not that long ago. Surely there's a picture of Wildwood School. So I asked around. No one had a picture of that either. Nobody. And I went to the town archives. They said, no, you know what? Call the school department. They'll have it. Call the school department. They didn't have it. I said, all right, listen, this is ridiculous. This is just ridiculous. I mean, a school has gone missing. Thousands of people went through it. It affected all these lives. It's gone. And it was just there a few years ago. But no one bothered to record it. So I said, okay, this is going to take a lot of work, but it is possible to collect material that's out there. It's in people's basements. It's not obviously not in the town archives. It's in people's basements. It's in their attics. It's in scrapbooks somewhere. It's out there. Someone has to go through the task of basically knocking on doors and using social media, using every tool you have to find in some cases, the one person in the world who has the one photo
that you're looking for.
That I'm looking for. But to find it, And also talk to people while they're still coherent about what happened years ago, how their family farm became a playground, or in the case of Herb Crawford, became Route 128.
Right.
Get those stories and get them down, put it in a durable platform where it can't be thrown away, which is the internet, can't be lost in a fire, can't be, oh geez, there was a flood, which I hear all the time. Fresh bought, all the fresh bought stuff get lost in a flood. So I said, okay, there's a sense of urgency now. The clock's ticking. Every time I drove by my old neighborhood on Spruce Hill Road, I said, okay, there was a pool back there. I know there was a pool back there. I swim in that pool. Someone around here must have pictures of that pool. Somebody. And then there was a thing, a guy told me 15 years ago that his house used to be a bar room called the Gray Squirrel on Chestnut Ave behind the car wash.
Right, right.
He said, this used to be a bar room. He said, look at this door. It's built into the corner of the building like a pub. I said, oh yeah, you're right. It's really long. I said, that's crazy. My
The
father's,
Squirrel and Ma Newman's were the only two bars within
Yes.
10 miles.
so these things were in my head all along anyway. And then my father, when he first moved to town, he said there was nothing in the center of town really except this little hamburger stand called Kemp's. And he went there and he ordered a hamburger, and it was the worst hamburger he's ever had in his life.
But it was 15 cents.
These things stuck in my head. I said, I want to find these things before it's too late. I don't like human mortality. It bothers me when people are just erased like they never were here, even though they might have done something that contributed to their town. They might have had the first pizzeria in town and worked their butts off for decades to make it happen. Pat Marino. These people should be in like a hall of fame, like a scrapbook. Every family has a scrapbook, and they should. Every school has a yearbook. Every town should have a website like this, where you collect and preserve.
So you're a one-man band at this point.
Yeah.
And when we first talked about this years ago, you said that you weren't going to commercialize this thing.
Right.
Has it grown to the point where you've reconsidered that? I mean, you obviously have storage expense now, which must be in the terabyte range.
Every day I get on my website, there's an ad from WordPress. You can make money on this site every day, and I ignore it every day. If I do expand this beyond Burlington and do other towns, I'd have to, because it would be a huge task. In fact, I'd have to have a staff. And I'd have to collect ads and take revenue from that in order to make it happen. But I don't like the idea of advertising. I don't like the idea of taking people's most personal material, their family, and especially when they're near death, and then putting ads on it. I don't
and
like
then offering it up to you in good faith.
Yeah, I don't like it. They may not mind it if it's a local business advertising on there. That's fine. I mean, if I really pitched it, I think it would be okay. I still don't like it. It's like when you go to the graves, to the cemetery. That's the one place you don't see ads on people's gravestones. You don't see it. Anywhere else where there's a platform, there's an ad, right? Except there, it's considered sacrosanct, right? You don't do that. And this, to me, is like a graveyard, kind of. It's so it's a tough thing. Is it better for the greater common good for me to expand this, get stuff that would otherwise be trashed, and get money from it, or is it better to just let it die?
Now, it's been word of mouth pretty much up to this point, but it did take on a life of its own early on. Are you reaching out? How are you reaching out, other than just individuals? Have you made a plea? Has been a newspaper plea? Is there a social media plea to the various families?
I use Facebook a lot. I didn't have a Facebook account until I started this website. I didn't think I needed it, but it's absolutely essential that you can reach people quickly. So I'm using the internet, I'm using social media, I'm using all the .coms, homeattree.com, all the things that may give you a lead as far as who's where they lived, who their next of kin was, to track down, again, the one person in the world who might have the one photo that I'm looking for. That's in some cases, or the one person who lived in this house.
Has the story.
And is still alive. You know, like in the case of the Kent Cottage on Middlesex Turnpike. The one woman who lived there from birth till age 7 is still alive. I got her.
Is that the Stone House
Yeah.
up on Network
I
Drive?
was able to get her in New Hampshire. She gave me the rundown of this, and she had, and the photos from another family went with it. I was able to tell the story from within that house, but all because of social media. If it weren't for that, there's no way you'd be able to track down people this fast. It'd take you months and months to get. You have to go through the phone books, the libraries. You'd never get it. You have to mail things, and no.
What other sources? Has the library been a source? I know that
Yeah.
in the historical museum, are you interacting with the historical commission at all?
I've gotten some things out of the back room there, where you have to get signed in, the Miles room.
Right.
I've gotten some things out of there. In fact, the Miles, Joan Miles and Steve Miles there, all their cartoons, every one of them's on my website. I photographed every page of that book.
Of that book?
It's
yeah.
on my website. It's called the Miles Files, all of them. So, and the St. Margaret story, there's a book back there about that. I got that on there. And all the yearbooks. I've got every graduating photo from a Burlington High School graduate all the way back to 1940, the first year of a high school. They're all there.
Really? I
Every-
hadn't seen that yet.
They're all there.
Every single one of them.
Go to the main website, go to school photos, and browse the menu. They're all there, every one of them, you included.
Great. That's a trip down memory lane.
They're all there.
Now,
Back to-
you're also taking on rather a huge task. I know you've got Dunham's book, you've got Fogelberg's articles. Every
Yeah.
article that was, I think, in the Daily Times.
It's on a
Chronicle.
CD, yeah, it's all on a CD. I'm going through that one at a time and trying to edit them for readability and clarity, because Ed's work is tough to work with.
Yeah.
He's tough, but I'm trying to make them more palatable and get
Had a
them.
lot of words. Ed had a lot of words in his articles.
Yes, and so get that fixed up and get it all in there in a nice menu system so you can look through that information. For those, again, this website's for those who are not really hardcore history buffs.
Yeah.
You know, the Fogelberg book is for hardcore history buffs. It's
Right.
this thick.
Right.
It's almost all text.
Part of a greater chronicle, yeah. Burlington, part of
Yeah,
a
you
greater
have to be
chronicle.
hardcore to get through that, okay? So I'm trying to make it more accessible to, especially for younger people who, when they hear history, especially Burlington history, they start to slip into a coma right away. You got to grab them and say, no, this is not that bad, okay? Just hang in there. In fact, I taught an entire, I lectured at the high school for an entire day in one of the history, in the history department. I was there from morning all the way to the afternoon talking to, I think, 5 or 6 classes. And as long as you've got photos, it's okay. Because this is a photocentric society. So if you've got photos, you get people's attention, even if they're young.
And put a little story with it.
Yeah.
All set.
If you don't have the photos, you've got nothing.
Mhm.
Challenge is we're talking about a non-photographic era here. Okay.
Mhm.
Prior to 1990, who had a camera? Once in a while we had digital camera. We didn't have cell phones. We really had our pockets. You had to lug around a camera, and before that you had to lug around a really big camera. So, and I'm talking about mundane things that people wouldn't ordinarily photograph. Almies. Why would you stand there in the parking lot and photograph almies?
You got one. Somebody did.
I did. Why would we stand there now and photograph Shaws? No reason whatsoever. These are not interesting things. They're mundane street scenes. Those make the best material, though, in about 5 or 6 decades.
Right.
No one thinks that far ahead, and especially when there's no photography around. So it's a miracle that I've been able to get the material I've got. It's from hard work.
Right. Now, what about some of the older families in town? The Grahams, the Ganleys, the Verriers,
had some-
Callahans. Have you been in touch with them?
Yeah.
Thorstenson?
Yes, all of them. They've got some material, but it usually comes down to the one person in the family who has the one box, and trying to get them to actually do it. You know, go through the box. Everyone says that they'll do it, but life gets in the way,
Right.
and they don't actually say, "Wait, okay, that guy who's interested, this is it right now. I'm going to put everything away, and I'm going to go find that file. I'm going to find that guy's information. I'm going to tell him." That's the hard part. So sometimes I have to keep hammering at these people. Every few months, I got to keep track of who told me they were going to look for something, and come back to them in a few months. And that's a lot, because there's probably right now 100 people who said they're going to look into something for me. Probably 100. So I can't keep track of them all. So until it comes back around again, oh yeah, didn't I find that guy? Didn't he say he was going to? So Facebook's good for that, though. You can pick up a conversation from a long time ago, right where you left off. Thank God.
Right, in the messenger system.
Thank
sure.
God. Or someone answers my friend request. but I'm not sure who it was or why I was asking.
I noticed Bob Gouveia has quite a collection of old stuff.
Yes, yeah. He photographed mundane things a long time ago. So what I'm doing now, since I'm not working, I'm doing home schooling with my third grader. Besides that, I'm not working. I'm going around and photographing the town now, as it is. In 2021, that's going to be on my website, just Burlington 2021. Just pictures of buildings and stuff.
Of
That's
what's
it.
here.
Yeah, because even in the past few months, look how many things have vanished on us.
Right.
Reed Hamworks behind
Sure.
Lakash's, gone. Now it's a state building. The gas station, Jack Hill Martin's gas station,
Gone.
gone. Now it's a thing. And that's recently. Those are pretty important things, gone. So
The old GE site, the old high voltage site, all these various sites which were different iterations of the industrialization of Burlington, which I think we're in, what are we, in the third or fourth round?
yeah,
Starting out with ham works and then the manufacturing facilities and then computer facilities, and now whatever mix we're going to be in the life sciences going forward as well.
right. So I'm not going to repeat the same mistake that people made years ago by not taking photographs of the town, because no one thinks that their current surroundings will ever be quaint. No one thinks that far ahead, saying this is going to be really interesting. These old cars,
Right.
they don't seem old at the time, right? These old car styles, these old architecture style, old signage, it's not old in the current time. So you don't bother photographing anything. And then decades later, you say, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I had taken, or if someone had some photos of that I remember. So I'm not going to repeat that mistake. I'm going to go out and photograph boring stuff in town, knowing that eventually when I'm gone, someone else is going to say, look at all this. I can't believe it. Someone actually photographed everything in this damn town in 2021. I wish someone did that in 1940,
Right.
1950. I
Sure.
wish someone did it.
Sure.
No one did it.
Now, what about Robert Costa's material? Have you been interacting with him as well?
No, but he has mostly the stuff that's in the town archives. And it's mostly old properties. And that's a good pocket of history. I'm glad someone did that. That's not my bag, though. That's not my thing. I mean, that's kind of been done, and most of those places are gone now. I'm trying to get things that are still here, people that are still here, and I'm interested in stores, restaurants, churches, schools that affected thousands of people over multiple generations, not an old house where only a handful of people have ever even been on the property. So that's my thing, and it's kind of a fun thing. It's a scavenger hunt. I mean, who doesn't like a scavenger hunt, right? My scavenger hunt is old photos, and in some cases I've been hunting for many years to find old photos. I mean, I just got the gray squirrel, which is a bar room right where the car wash is now. After 4 years of plugging away at that, I finally got it just a few days
The
ago.
one picture that's probably remaining.
4 years of effort to get that photo. After that guy told me about it 15 years ago that his house used to be a bar. I finally got the photo just a few days ago. Okay. So my theory has proven correct that this material is out there. That's how I started off with this. In fact, I talked to Dan McCormick, the town archivist, about the stuff he had. I said, yeah, but you know what? This is not 20th century. There's 20th century material that's still out there in people's possession, and we need to get it because the clock is ticking on this stuff. And this is the bridge from old Burlington to new Burlington, when farms became playgrounds and farms became office parks, and there's still time to get that material before it's gone forever.
Right. Now, what about the churches? They've been a recent, within the last 40 years, we've gone from the Congregational Church and the old bandbox at St. Margaret's at the corner of Center Street and Wynn Street. Have you got a picture of that?
I got lots of them. I got probably 12 of kids outside in a procession down Wynn Street. They actually shut down Wynn Street for this procession. I got pictures of that.
Got any pictures of the
at
old
steps.
dances, the Key Club dances that were held
I
here?
have a picture of one of the keys.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I've got that on there, and I've got St. Malachy's, the creation of St. Malachy's. I found the architect.
Yes, I think I saw
Daniel
a note from
Tully,
his daughter,
88
right?
years old, living, I can't remember where he was. I got him on the phone, and he explained how he came up with that design and the challenges of the design, and that when a hurricane came through town, when it was being constructed, he went out just to inspect it to make sure it wasn't damaged, and it was fine. But a woman drove by on Bedford Street and pulled off the road and said, "Oh my God, is that what the hurricane did?" No, that was on purpose,
Right.
that design.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I remember the first, actually I served there for a number of years. I got transferred from St. Margaret's to St. Malachy's as an altar boy, and I couldn't believe it myself. And I think I was 13 or 14 at the time.
the one church that I'm really keen, I'm interested in is the Fellowship Bible Church at the top of Center Street.
Center Street.
Because it broke off from the big white one near the Common. Reverend King, I think, broke it off. But I'm interested in that one because for a while that one conducted business at the 128 Drive-In. I don't have a good photo of the 128 Drive-In.
You don't?
No. I have a picture of the marquee because there was a car accident right there. A car
Right.
bashed into the letters and knocked all the letters out of whack. I've got that picture. But not the actual screen and the cars. I don't have it.
How about New Gentleman's Auction Barn? Have you got a picture of that
Yes,
down?
I've
That's
got-
where the Almies replaced that, right, eventually?
Yeah, I've got the original, not the new German, the original Germans across the street where on Terry Ave.
Right,
I've got
right.
that one. And I've got one in the background. I've got a picture of a Burlington police wagon, a Plymouth, with that sign in the background, yeah, but not as much detail as I'd like. And I know there's a horse corral there also. There was actually a golf driving range there and an ice cream stand too,
Yeah.
Kimball's.
Kimball's.
I don't
yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
And how about the Flying Saucer Diner?
Have that.
You have that
Fred
one?
Keene had that.
No kidding.
Fred
That's
Keene
from
had that.
'54, I think.
And his photo was better than Joe Gallipo Jr. His father owned it. It's better than anything he had.
Really?
Fred Keene had it in his collection.
Well, Freddie's got a lot of stuff, I'm
yeah.
sure. He's been around
So
for a
that's
long
on
time.
there. So there are very few things that I do not have, but Kimball's Ice Cream, I want that. The driving range that was there. The Betty Crocker Pie Shop. That's not that long ago, but no one has a photo of that. Everyone loved it. No one's got a photo. Pewter Pot, no one's got a photo. I've got one, but it's not that great. Kemp's,
Kemp's.
don't have it.
Don't have Kemp's, huh?
I have a grainy black and white photo that's not
Looking
very
up
good.
the hill, I think I've seen that
Yeah,
one, right from
and I
the
have a
bottom of the
close-up
hill.
one of a glass area with a couple of kids having hamburgers and stuff. But I mean a good establishing shot, like in Hollywood, a good shot.
They had arches too, as I recall. That might have been the beginning of the Golden Arches. Somebody might have stole that idea from McDonald's.
I know they had a huge honky-tonk sign that got taken down in the early 70s as part of our
There's a sign by
non-honky-tonk
Right.
thing. The finest sign had to come down, and the Economy Shoppers Center had to come down. Kemp's had to come down, the big sign. So I have a picture of the sign coming down. So there was something, Tennis 128 is missing. Tennis 128, it was visible from 128. They had these big billowing white covers over the clay courts, and I don't have that either.
Yeah, it was like a tent
Yeah.
arrangement. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about the IGA?
I've got that.
You do have that. That was
The-
built in 54, I think it was under construction.
Yeah, originally, I've got a photo on there of before they built the actual standalone building, that was one tenant in the little Rexall Plaza.
Rexall, sure.
It started there. I've got a picture of that, the original IGA with the old cars parked there. And then I've got the sign saying, coming soon, the new supermarket, all that stuff. And then I've got, because the Collifsons ran it, and I managed, again, because of social media, I was able to get Arlene Collifson, and she had all the slides.
Yeah.
So she mailed me a whole bunch of slides, and I was able to, again, with technology, I have a glass dining room table. I was able to put the slides under there, put them on the table, get a light bulb under it to light up the slides, put a piece of white paper over it, and lift them with my iPhone.
Really?
Photograph the image, and they
Yeah.
come up perfect.
Yeah. Well, the iPhone certainly has helped you in this quest, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it makes the
because-
whole transfer of data a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah, and I can work, no matter where I am, I can have a conversation. I don't have to say, oh, gee, I can't get back to this guy for 3 hours. I can get back to him right now, while I have him. In some cases, I've been looking for somebody for years. All of a sudden, my phone rings. It's him responding to something finally,
Right.
and I can get him while he's hot.
Right.
For instance, the Nielsen's Bike Shop. Okay, Nielsen's Bike Shop went from conception to finished within a half hour, because I was reading an obituary for George Nielsen, and I noticed he had a daughter with an unusual name. Thank God for unusual names, because I can find them. Her name was Donna Davy Hagen. I found her right away on Facebook, sent her a message. She was the type who responds right away, thank God. I said, hey, do you have any material from your dad's bike shop? Because I'm a historian in town. I'm trying to capture this stuff while it's out there. She says, oh yeah, hang on. She had right behind her on the wall, she had all of his grand opening photos. Him behind the counter at age 29, 27, ready for
Now,
business.
that was at the top, the crest of the hill across from the high school, right?
No, Nielsen's, it moved, it was initially down, it was on Cambridge Street, kind of across from Wayside, in there somewhere.
Okay, yeah,
And he sold his business to the Cycle Loft,
right.
I think.
But that was there in the early 50s. Now, what was
Yeah.
at the top of the, what am I thinking of at the top of the hill? It was a gas station there. Whose gas station was that?
Top of what hill now?
At the top of, the crest of Cambridge Street across from the high school. There was an old gas station there.
Doucette's.
Doucette's
yes.
Hardware, too.
Doucette's is on there. I managed to get the Doucette's. They live out of state, but I was able to get them in their photos and how that came to be, and even there's kind of an interesting side story. Mr. Doucette had a house built right behind his business. It's 2 Rita Ave. So Rita Ave is that shortcut that's got a do not enter sign. You pass through the 2 gas stations.
Yeah, right, make the left there.
The
sure.
first house on the left is faced away from the street. So it's looking into a fence with some trees. And the side of the house is facing the street. It's crazy. But it's because Mr. Doucette had that house built aiming at his business, so we could look out the window at his business.
His
okay?
business, sure.
Over the years, it's not, they put a wall and trees. So the house is now looking from here to there right into some trees. And the side of the house is facing the street, but now I know why.
Right.
You know.
Now, how about Lenny Pimentel? He had a lot of, as I recall, I had him for mechanical drawing in the 60s, and I recall him being somewhat of a historian. His family had been here a long time.
Yeah, I got a relative of his, Dan Fredette. He had some old photos and stories of the cabinet shop, also
draperies.
Yeah, and he was the town building inspector too. So there's a funny picture of this little old man carrying a bucket, dressed in rags, the town building inspector.
Really, because if you saw Lenny in school, I mean, he was dressed as dapper as possible. I mean, he was a dapper man.
Not his grandpa. So,
this is the grandfather.
No, sorry, this is not Lenny. This is
Danny Fredette. Where is Danny? I graduated with Danny. I haven't seen him in 50 years.
I don't know where he is. Again, it's all electronic. I don't know where these people are. It's just a voice. But yeah, he had the information.
And Norm DeFont was a member of that family too. Norm was a bus driver for years and various explorers, head of the explorers in town for a number of years.
Another thing, I'd like to get a picture of the high school property when there was no high school there.
Right.
I think Breen, I think there was a farm there.
Right.
I'd like to get a picture of that. Also, there's some...
I'd like to get a picture if it wasn't there anymore. Nothing like Soviet-era architecture for the Burlington High School.
Yeah. And there are some interesting street riddles like Arlington Road.
And Arlington Road Extension.
Yeah, these little riddles I'd like to solve. Supposedly, Arlington Road, which is right next to the high school, so it's just a little nondescript street. But if you go back far enough, that was the main road through town, okay? That little winding road and the high school driveway was the main road through town. Cambridge Street wasn't straightened out until cars came into the picture. They had to make it easy for cars. They
The new highway, yeah,
and they snipped off that appendage. Then it gets snipped again for the high school, and the last piece of it is Arlington Road.
Okay.
And it's called Arlington Road because it does go to Arlington eventually, you know.
We've only got 1 minute left. The camera's there. Make a plea to Burlington's finest and oldest families to come up with some information for you.
Everyone loved Kemp's. I need Kemp's. I don't have Kemp's. I have a crappy old photo. It deserves better. It was part of the culture. I need Kemp's. Betty Crocker Pie Shop, same thing. Where are the photos? Pewter Pot, Tennis 128.
Royal Hawaiian, Sunluck.
Royal Hawaiian. I have the menu, but not the. But yeah, service merchandise. Where are they? They're in your scrapbook somewhere. So look through the. Don't say, oh no, I don't have it. Look through what you do have, because I never thought I had a picture of Father Canine from St. Margaret's. until I looked through my stuff and saw I have a picture of him right behind me with his hand on my shoulder. Okay?
And one with the cardinal too, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, unfortunately we've run out of time. I'd like to thank our guest, Robert Fahey, who is the webmaster and sole
The sole proprietor.
The sole proprietor of BurlingtonRetro.com. If you have some family photos, that you'd like to share, you can reach him on the website. Please do. It's an aggregation site for all of Burlington's history. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.